Before Mortal Kombat Legacy came out, there was a small teaser trailer known as Mortal Kombat Rebirth, which would be a live-action web series or movie about our favorite bloody franchise, Mortal Kombat. As soon as I heard about it, I quickly checked out the video to see for myself what this new series will turn out to look like. Before checking out the video, I could already imagine what it's going to look like. I was thinking that since everyone hated that the movies didn't add any blood or violent fatalities, so surely that's going to be included in the series. Another thing I could picture was seeing live action versions of my favorite characters like Scorpion, Baraka, or Reptile. And you can't forget about the female cast. You know how sexy they look in the games. I can't wait to see what Mortal Kombat Rebirth is going to look like. But then I saw it, and little by little I saw what this series was doing with the franchise. It's not at all Mortal Kombat, it's just a bunch of people on Earth who have a somewhat realistic version of what the Mortal Kombat characters would be like in real life. And that's it. Now what the fuck were they thinking? This franchise has a cheesy story. It's like something you read off a book like Lord of the Rings. Could you imagine someone making a web series of Lord of the Rings but instead of elves and dwarves and all that awesome shit we like, instead we get a bunch of guys role-playing? Heck, that would be somewhat close to the source material, but still not close enough. More like Othello and O. Othello takes place in a whole different world, the world of Shakespeare, but O takes place in the present time. That's the concept this series was going to present us with. I get it, I understand 100% what they're trying to do, but it's not going to work with this series. Mortal Kombat is about more than just blood and fighting. It's about a tournament that has fighters from different worlds competing to defend their world. At least that's what Earth's warriors are trying to do, while everyone else is thinking of conquering every world, or realms as they're called here. But the story is far more than that as well. You can check out this video I made where I explain the origins of Mortal Kombat. And after seeing that this series was going to make everything that is Mortal Kombat into a realistic world, the sad thing was that around 2010, everyone was making movies where everything was toned down to be in a realistic world, and that was just not working out at all. And I can't believe that anyone ever thought about making Mortal Kombat be in a realistic world. But what's even sad was that a lot of people loved it. Like, what the fuck? Why would anyone want to see everything toned down to a realistic world? That means no outworld invasion, no worlds other than Earth, no sorcery, no imagination for shit. Now it's all about a detective story like the show Gotham City, a show made only due to the success of the franchise. But anyways, going back to MK Rebirth, we know that the story is now going to be a detective story. So what about the next main issue? The characters. What do you have to work with when the only characters that can be true to their characters are Sonya and Jax and Johnny Cage? They're not the special forces anymore, they're detectives. So what do we make of Raiden? He's a god. You can't be realistic if there's a god running around. So what, is he gonna be like a mental patient claiming to be a god of thunder? Surprisingly, when Mortal Kombat Legacy came out instead, they actually took that concept. How hilarious is that? It worked too, because we knew that it was true, that he was a god. But imagine if Mortal Kombat Rebirth did this. Of course, he would be a mental patient, and he would not be a real god. How about we take a look at the other characters that were introduced, starting with Johnny Cage. That is the only character you don't need to change anything from. If they fuck that up, then people might be pissed because it's an unnecessary thing to change in a realistic MK world. But what about Baraka? That's a character that needs to change big time. So let's say that he's a crazy mad scientist played by Eddie Gordo, and one day he just decides to cosplay as Baraka and shoves blades into his fucking arms. Seriously. Also, he sharpens his fucking teeth. I know what you're thinking, at least they're trying to make the characters look similar. But seriously? A mad scientist sharpens his teeth and shoves fucking thick ass blades through his arms? What's next? Reptile is gonna be a man born with a freakish rare skin disease? Yeah, that clip of Reptile as a baby, that wasn't made by them. It was a video off of YouTube. I don't know the true story behind it. I can't tell if it is real or fake. It looks pretty damn real, but that's not the point. They actually used this baby thing and said that it was Reptile as a baby. They couldn't make their own version of it. No, fuck it. Let's see what weird creepypasta shit we can find off of YouTube and say it's a Mortal Kombat character before they grew up. But what about his acid blood? He can't have that. His stealth camouflage? Nope, get that shit out of here. It's not realistic enough. A mad scientist with mad martial arts skills who shoves blades through his arms with pointy teeth is much more realistic. But seriously though, looking at that fucking thing, that looks nothing like Reptile. What, just because he rips the heads off his victims and eats them, that's all that's needed to call him Reptile? Oh god, I'm afraid to see what Sub-Zero would look like. Oh, and they did show him. He looks like fucking Jason X, but even uglier. What's next? We got Scorpion. So, is he going to be a part of the Ninja Clan, the Shirai Ryu? Well, actually, he is part of the Shirai Ryu, which in this world is just a fucking gang in Japan. So no ninjas. Ninjas aren't real. What the fuck was I thinking? Ninjas? We don't need ninjas in Mortal Kombat. It worked out perfectly when Mortal Kombat 3 did that, right? Shang Tsung is in it as well. He's just some guy, probably with the Yakuza or Triads. It's not mentioned. Oh, in the tournament of Mortal Kombat, it's not about defending your own realm. It's just an underground fight club. Or in other words, a kumite. Barack Obama fights against Johnny Cage. That scene was done pretty good. It was even topped off with a fatality. That's good. But very obvious to include it, so in other words, it's not surprising. Now, the fucking reveal at the end where we get to see that Hanzo Hasashi calls himself Scorpion. What the fuck was that? I'm confused. Is he blind? What's the point of giving him no pupils like the character in the video games if he truly is dead? Then his fucking head would be covered in flames. It would just be a skull. If he removes his mask, it wouldn't look like that. You can't possibly take everything away that is Mortal Kombat and keep the smallest details or these random ass details on one character that would easily let you know who the character is. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. He is another mental patient because he's making no sense at all. And in the end, more people liked it. They loved this concept of Mortal Kombat. I don't get it. People complain about Dragon Ball Evolution and how it didn't have anything to do with the original source material, and yet they fucking loved it when the same treatment was given to Mortal Kombat Rebirth. It's terrible. I'm glad that's not what we got when Mortal Kombat Legacy came out. I like seeing that Lateef Crowder played a character in Mortal Kombat Now. He was Eddie Gordo in the Tekken movie and Baraka in Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Michael J. White as Jax was always the right choice, so at least they chose wisely, but the rest was just a complete fucking mess. I was always wondering what the rest of the Mortal Kombat characters would be portrayed like if this did end up becoming a series or a movie. Would Melina, Kitana, and Jade just be a bunch of strippers who know martial arts? Would Goro be yet another dumbass scientist who shoves shit into his body like a pair of extra arms? Shao Kahn would probably be our president. At least that would be a funny reveal. But for the rest of the characters, I don't even want to think about it. Anyways, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, be sure to leave a like, share with others, and subscribe if you haven't. Be sure to check out my Patreon, and if you'd like to support the channel, you'll get additional content and more just by donating at least $1. It'll help me get a new computer to continue making more videos like this one and faster content as well. You also have a chance to win prizes, so you might want to check that out. The link to my Patreon is on the description, as well as my Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, where I post all sorts of random stuff for you guys. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.